Today our money review is going to be covering all of February, and February was a little bit exceptional because I paid for more things than I did in January. Like I had to replace all the tires on my car, which happened last week, and then also my husband who lives in England, he was visiting for those back end 2 weeks of February. It was also my birthday, which I don't think would have factored in very much, except my husband being here during my birthday. I don't know, there were a few emotional hurdles. I didn't violate anything in my no buy challenge rules for this year, but it was tough. It was a tough one. It was harder than I expected it to be. Like I expected to be mostly chilling, but there were a lot of times where I almost bought things that I never would have considered buying if one, my husband wasn't here, and two, it also wasn't like a quote unquote special occasion. You know what I mean? Like with the birthday, with him visiting, I just felt myself feeling like, when you go on vacation and money doesn't feel real to you, that's how it felt when my husband was here. So it was hard for me to combat that, especially when I was in just like my normal, regular life. I never really considered how much that feeling impacted me until this time when I was actually actively paying attention to it. Mainly because when I'm visiting him in the UK, I don't really feel like that. I mean, I go to Primark and I usually buy things that I wouldn't typically be interested in. I've gotten a lot better at going to Primark though. And then in my day-to-day life, like I'm not paying for gas, I'm buying groceries, I'm not really eating out very much just because there isn't a lot to eat out in the UK. And I don't know, my budget is naturally regulated when I'm in England, whereas when I'm in California, I actively regulate that for myself, and then having my husband visit and having that be a special occasion. Ooh, that was a little bit harder. It was also Valentine's Day when he flew in. I don't know, there were just a lot more hurdles. So let's review week 9 because I didn't do an individual video for week 9. And so I'm just going to include that in this one. We have Sunday, I spent $99. Monday was a no spend day. Don't know how that happened. Tuesday, I spent $107.31. Wednesday was $186.64. Thursday was $43.16. Then Friday was $93.30. And then Saturday was $99.34. I'm actually surprised that Friday was as low as it was. And I did double check this because I was like, that can't be right. That can't be real. My husband and I, we went to Disneyland on that day because it was my birthday. And I expected to spend similar to what I had spent the past Friday when we went to Disneyland, which was about $250, but $93.30. That's crazy. I don't know how we did that. I mean, I guess I do. I can look at the transactions, but we only bought food. We didn't buy any knickknacks, which we did last time, except the Friday before the 28th. I think we were more excited for the Disney snacks. So like when you go to Disney, they have some special snacks that you can only get there. Like we got churros twice in the day. We got popcorn. I got, why am I thinking candy floss? I think that's what they call it in the UK. What do we call it here? Cotton candy. I got cotton candy. Candy floss. I'm sure my husband didn't even say that word. Anyways, cotton candy. We had meals with lots of, I don't know, I guess we just ate more the last time we went, but $93.30, that's like really good for that Disney day. Overall, not too bad. Now when we look at February as a whole month, my total spent was $2,644.02, which is like way more than double what I spent in January. Pretty crazy. However, even though I didn't spend $250 at Disney, I'm going to count it as a $250 day because that's what I allotted for it. I'm just going to reallocate that. So, but assuming that both Disney days combined were $500, and then on top of that, I paid, $937 for tires. That makes our adjusted total like not as bad. Still like over $1,000, but still way higher than January. But I was spending more in those last 2 weeks on just general food and being alive because Signif was in town and he eats a lot more than me. I'm 5'2" and detest having to source food. Like eating food is one of those things I'm like, not important. I don't need to allocate time to do that. So when I get meals, for one, when I go out, I'll just get a kid's meal. Like that's the perfect amount of food for me. And then two, a lot of the time I forget to eat. What I need to start doing again is putting on my calendar like time for lunch, time for dinner, time for snack, because if I put that in my calendar, I'm way more likely to be like, oh yes, it is time to do that thing. Let me go do it now, versus being like, oh, I'm on a roll with this project. I'm working on this thing. Like I don't want to stop what I'm doing to go eat food that seems too inconvenient to me, because typically that's what happens. But that's how I naturally just like don't really spend very much on food. Not great, working on it, but it's not my main focus right now. My husband, however, he gets hungry. He's 6'5". He eats food. So when we go out to eat, what would have been a $6.50 meal for me is now like $35. Mainly because I eat more when he's around too. Like, instead of getting kids meal, I'll get like the 6-pack of nuggets with a large fry and a medium drink, whereas before I was just getting a kids meal. And then he's getting like a double cheeseburger and like he's ordering a bunch of food. So at the end of the day, every time we eat out, it's like $35. At least it's $35. So that was pretty expensive. But I'm not worried for when we're living in the same country. I look at these 2 weeks and I go, yeah, that's a time crunch. That's a time crunch where I'm like, we're going to Disney. We're going to here. We're seeing these people. And he's like, I want to eat here because we don't have that in the UK. And I'm like, that makes perfect sense to me. So a lot of it is like time crunch related spending that just wouldn't be the thing when we're living in the same country. Now, of course, I will be updating you if/when that does happen on if anything unexpected happens with the finances, I suppose. But for now, I'm looking at it. I'm going, okay, that's extenuating. So I'm not gonna scrutinize it too closely. A couple of things that I wanted to buy the past weeks, just in February in general, I wanted to buy a rug. That would have been $350. But get this. If you follow me on TikTok, you may know that I have a rug from Rifle Paper Co. that I bought while I was working at Anthropologie part-time. And the reason I bought the rug was because it was on sale, and it was like a special case scenario where employees, you would get an additional 40% off of sale items. So I got an additional 40% off of that rug. And I bought it, and now it's like, it's the rug that was in my apartment, it's the rug that's in my room, like it's my favorite rug. And I was always saying like, oh, if they had it in a bigger size, I'd buy it, because I would want that for a living room, like when I had another space to myself. And I was at Home Goods, and guess what? They had the rug. And it was massive. It was too big, and I think that's why I ultimately decided not to get it. But they had it, and it was only, and I said only, and now I'm gonna say a number, and it might shock you, but that's actually really cheap for this kind of rug. It was $350. It was on sale for $350. And I was looking at it, they had 2 of them, and I looked at my husband and I went, oh my gosh, I really want it. And he was like, get it. Because it was my birthday month. So I think he was also feeling weak as well. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really want it. And he goes, get it. You can always get someone to trim it down, like that style of that pattern rug. Like, you'll be able to get someone to trim it down. And I was like, oh, maybe I will. And then I was like, I'm gonna sit on it. I'm gonna wait. I don't have $350 set aside to buy the rug. So logic dictates that it's not really time. And also, I could take it from the moving fund, but like my husband didn't really want the rug. He was just kind of supporting me. So all these factors combined made me be like, no, let's leave the rug behind. And I've actively been thinking about that rug ever since I saw it. I don't even know how long it's been. It's been at least 5 days since I saw that rug. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that rug. And on Saturday, so March 1st, we were no longer my birthday week. I look at my husband and I go, why don't we go get that rug? What if we got that rug? What do you think about getting that rug? And he was like, nah, don't need it. Don't get it. I should have got it when I had his blessing. Are you kidding me? Now he doesn't. Now he's not interested in the rug. Now the stars no longer align. He's not into it. Plus, here's the thing. I'm fostering a puppy. I'm going to go get her, actually, because I think the visual aid is going to be helpful for this situation. Okay, we are fostering this puppy. This is the puppy that was born like a day before we started fostering her mom and her. So we're fostering her and her mom. Her mom already has like 2 people in line to adopt her. Nobody's in line to adopt this little one, though. I've named her Lucy, by the way. And so I think my husband is thinking that we may foster fail. And in his mind, he goes, okay, if we foster fail, then we don't want a new rug. We don't want a brand new rug for her to crap on. And I see his logic, but I was like, listen, man, we could just buy the rug, keep it in a closet until she's like totally potty trained. But we don't know what her breed is. And my husband, he really wants a large dog. Like, he wants a lab. And he met Lucy. And he goes, okay, well, I just want her to be like, maybe like small, medium size. And I go, small, medium, you want a large dog? And he goes, yeah, but I like her. So like I'd make an exception. Like if we have confidence that she could grow into a small, medium sized dog, then I want to keep her. And I was like, but Pringles, like I have small dogs. And I was like, you don't want a small dog. And he goes, no, 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 you have extra small dogs. And I was like, before you just called them small. Now they're extra small. What's the definition of these sizes? And I'm not pushing him too hard because I don't really want him to be like, no, we can't keep her. But we're like, as of right now, we're not keeping her, but I do have a puppy pamphlet for her. And we did get a kennel because I don't know if I want to kennel train her. And also I do have like training treats prepped and ready to go. And also she can sit and she knows come. Like, come here, that kind of thing. And she is somewhat aware of her name. And she's a little lady. She's a little lady. We put bells on her so that we know when she goes outside because she can use the dog door. She's 6 weeks old as of right now. And when she is old enough to finish getting all of her shots, when she has all of her shots and she's safe, then I'm going to sign her for puppy play stuff and also puppy training. I got a pamphlet with coupons in it from PetSmart. Yeah, PetSmart. So we're going to do that and we're going to get her acquainted with grooming. Oh, I'm so excited. It's really long hair, and so her poop gets caught on her booty when she goes to the bathroom. So we were like, we need to trim this. She's not old enough to go to the groomers yet, so we'll just trim it. Girl screams bloody murder. You would think that we were stabbing her actively. She doesn't mind getting her nails trimmed, totally chill with that, but any kind of trimming of the fur, she's raging. She is inconsolable. She is not happy. So that's something we're dealing with right now. She's going to want to start playing soon. She's going to want to start running around. If you have any guesses of what her breed is, we did submit her DNA to be tested so that a company can tell us what her breed is, but they were supposed to send that to us in 4 weeks, and it's been 4 weeks now. My mom emailed them, and they said, okay, it's just reached the lab or whatever, so it's going to be another 2 weeks. Another 2 weeks. So all in all, it's going to take forever and ever and ever for us to know what her breed is. Here are some guesses, though, because her mom, we know, is half Chihuahua, half miniature pinscher, or like some mix of miniature pinscher and Chihuahua. Dad, absolutely no idea, because I'll tell you what, Little Miss does not look like her mom at all. Some guesses we've got have been like Cocker Spaniel, Schnauzer, Havanese. We've got some big breeds, too. We got Yorkshire Terrier. We got, I know that's not a big breed. What was it? Burmese Mountain Dog. We've got some herding dog variations like Border Collie. And what's the one, what's Bluey? No, she's not that. What's the one? It's like, I don't know. But essentially, we have no idea who the dad is, and we want to know. We want to know! Because also that helps with training, like if you can gauge their temperament. She's a very smart cookie. She's so friendly. We have a German Shepherd and a Chihuahua, and she loves playing with both of them. If you're like, the German Shepherd could kill her, yeah, she could, but the German Shepherd is, like, whenever Lucy gets near her, my German Shepherd, like, flattens herself to the ground, like, gets on her level, essentially. You want to run around? Would you like to run around? Yes, I think you would. All right, I'll put you down. All right, I took her outside. She went potty, and now she's taking a little nap. So my husband's concerned when it comes to if we're going to keep Lucy or not is that I do live with other dogs. Like, they're family dogs. They're not my dogs. German Shepherd, Chihuahua. German Shepherd's my mom's. The Chihuahua is my grandpa's. And I was like, we could keep Lucy. And he goes, yeah, the thing is, I don't want her to pick up bad habits from the dogs you already have. And I was like, they're not bad. They're not badly behaved. And he was like, no, but they're not like trained. You know what I mean? And I go, well, okay, they're both pretty bad at walking on leash because my mom goes hiking a lot of places, and most of the time she has our German Shepherd off leash. And I'll tell you what, we adopted the German Shepherd when she was, I think, like 6 or 7 years old. Amazing recall. Like, insane recall, so we couldn't change her name. Her name is Beauty. And so we were like, Beauty, that's a dumb name. But her recall is so good that we're like, we can't change her name. We can't. She won't respond to these other things. Like, she only responds to her name. Beauty, come here. Woo, immediately. She's a gentle soul. If someone comes up, she's right by my mom's side. But I'll tell you what, take her walking around this neighborhood, nightmare. Nightmare. Would never ever let her off leash in the neighborhood because she's too used to just like wandering off on her own now that I'm like, no, I don't trust you to not go into the street. Like, I do not, like, sure, I could call you back, but not before you've been hit. Would never let her off leash here. She's great at the dog park though, incredibly social. Again, like I told you, like, she's a sweetheart. But she's a sweetheart because of one previous training that she had. Convinced my mom could not have a German Shepherd on her own because of the previous training she had. Also, she's like a really weird temperament for a German Shepherd. Like, people are like, wow, she's such a calm German Shepherd. Yeah, she came like that. That's just how she is. She's like the gentlest soul, planet Earth. Not skittish, never like, ooh, I want to run around. Of course, if you take her off into the mountains and you let her run, she'll run. But home, she's happy to lay on the ground, super, super calm. She lets the puppy jump all over her. Doesn't care. Not a care in the world. The Chihuahua is a timid thing. She's a timid thing. Of course, all the dogs are housebroken. Timid, doesn't have incredible recall. She knows her name. You know what I mean though? But the vibe is that my dogs are well behaved, but because they want to be well behaved. You know, you pick up what I'm laying down. Whereas my husband, he had this lab growing up. He had a golden lab growing up, and she was trained. She knew tricks. She was a dog. She was a following commands kind of dog. There was no coaxing. She came when she was like, you know what I mean? Like, he's used to having like a dog that is like, yes, I'm here. Yes, yes, sir. Like, that's his dog vibe. My dog vibe is like, you rang? Yeah, I guess I'll come. I guess I'm not doing anything right now. Sure. What's that? Dinner's ready? Fabulous. Put it on the ground. But his dog is like, I don't know. We have different vibes. And so I'm totally happy to have her like be trained. That's what I would want if I have my own dog. But I've never had a dog that wasn't just like, oh yeah, we got her when she was a puppy and now she's just like great. Now she's like my shadow. Now she just follows me around because she wants to. I've never been like, this is what we did to train the dog. We did X, then we practiced Y, and we did all this. Like, I don't know. They just did it. They just did it. I didn't pay attention to the formula. They just did it. And my husband's like, not good. So, yeah, that's his concern, and I see that. So I'm like, I want to set Lucy up for success. Like, if we keep her, if we don't keep her, like, I want to set her up for success. So she's an only child puppy because her mom had 2 puppies, but the other one died. So she's an only child. That's the problem. That's a problem for socialization. Like I said, she has met other dogs. She knows our dogs. But she's not, like, I just don't want her to be a flight risk. I don't want her to grow up being like, seeing another dog is weird. So I want to take her to the puppy play stuff. I'm going to take her to puppy training. I'm going to take her to like multiple puppy trainings if that's not like a bad thing. Is that a bad thing to do multiple puppy training courses? I assume they're not all vastly different. I don't know. And then maybe she can meet other puppies that I can coordinate like play dates with, like with their owners. And then I want to get her into grooming, like as soon as possible. I want her to get used to being touched. I want her to get used to being brushed and being used to all these. Like, I brush her sometimes. She doesn't love the brush, I will say. She's starting off not enjoying it. We gave her a bath already, even though puppies, if they're younger than 8 weeks, they're like, don't give her a bath. I'm like, she has long hair and she got into mud. So I fear we're gonna have a problem if we don't give her a little wash. Yeah, so I just want her to have her best chance at a good, well-behaved life for me, but also for if she goes to like a new home. Anyways, I did spend money on her this month. I bought the kennel. I spent maybe like $170 on pet expenses. So, I mean, that factors in too, right? That's gonna be a new frontier for me, is figuring out how to budget for a pet, because I've talked about it before. I've been like, in theory, this is what I would do, but I've never actually had to do it for myself. So now that we potentially might be keeping Lucy, we'll see, might be keeping Lucy, then that would factor into the budget, which, if you're familiar, which has actually inspired me to make an upgrade to the way that I transaction track. So right now I just use this, which is my full year spending tracker. I've been using it for like around a year now, and I really like it because it's very low pressure. So for the calendar, like, I enter in those amounts. I look at my transaction history and I do like $9.55 plus $12.26 or whatever the transaction are for that day, and then it'll color code based off of the range that it falls in. Great, I can keep track of my money wins, my impulse buy, things like that, things that I've always wanted to know about. That's what this is based off of, but I want something new now. I was like, actually, I want to see more granularly where I'm spending my money, because instead of looking at the totals, now I want to start picking it apart a little bit, which is why I have made this a variation of the full year spending tracker. I didn't know what to call it because I would also call this a full year spending tracker, but I've decided to name it just like annual transaction tracker. I know it's gonna get confusing putting these together. So the main point of this one is every single day, or maybe once a week, I'll go back through my transaction history, kind of like what I'm doing now, but I'll enter it line by line and I'll label it. So these are just kind of blank. I didn't do the vendors for this one. I was feeling lazy. So this is what it is. And now I can see broken up in this donut shape. Okay, well, I'm spending a lot on takeout and a lot on groceries. I'm spending like kind of an equal amount there. And then pets, that's a notable amount. Transportation, maintenance, hygiene, fun. And I even made bills a category in here. So like the categories I've decided to include are transportation, groceries, takeout, fun, loved ones, hygiene, maintenance. And when I think maintenance, I think of like home products, like cleaning products for the home, if I get my car fixed, things like that. That's what I categorize as maintenance. Bills, because I don't know if I want to include bills yet. I feel like I might want to. I feel like I might do that. I feel like I might be ready for that step. And then other, so like I don't know what category it is. And then I remembered that I wanted to add pets in there. I mean, I look at this and I see the total and I see the total here and I'm like, those totals don't really match up, do they? 797 and then 22. What is it actually? Let me see. 797, 22. Okay, well then something's not adding up here. Who's wrong? Who's counting wrong here? There must be a duplicate in here somewhere. I'm gonna have to go back through my formulas and see them because the totals ain't totaling. That's annoying. But anyways, I've made it. Obviously, I'm still perfecting it, but this is the way I'm gonna transaction track now. Now, my first instinct with this is like, okay, I'll just send this version to everyone who's bought my full year spending tracker. But also, this one's like completely different than the full year spending tracker. And so I'm like, okay, well, maybe second thought, maybe I'll give them like a discount because they may not even want this one. But if they don't want it, then does it matter if I send it to them or not, right? So I'm like, right now I'm on the fence about if I want to give it like totally for free to the people who've already bought my full year spending tracker, or if I want to give them like a 70% off, like a notable discount for this one if they want this one instead of that one. But I'll tell you what, the version of me who made the original full year spending tracker, I don't know that she would care about this one. Like I think she might look at this one and be like, that looks way worse. Like that doesn't even have what I want in it. Because the other one is like, did you impulse buy? Did you have a money win? So it's more focused on kind of like the early journey stuff that comes with tracking your spending. And this one I think is different. I feel like they're for different people is my main point. I don't know. And also it still doesn't really work. So it's still in testing. You know what I did last time though? Like if you ever got my full year spending tracker, if I made updates to it, the updated version is still the link that you have. So if you ever were like, oh, you made an update, I want the update. The link that you got sent is the link that is this. Like I am updating your version. So if you want that version, just save a new copy of it. So I could release this as it is, and then as I make updates to it, I'll be like, now you have access to the updated version. The only problem is you will have to copy and paste your transaction. So I mean, actually that's like a lot less work than I thought it would be. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna stew on this, but those are my updates for February. We got a new template. We got potentially a new dog. Potentially. Okay. I love having a routine though. I love it. I really do. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to like take her to these things and like do these training classes. Like I'm so psyched about it. I can't even explain it to you. So, and I think it's nice for me to have a life form that is somewhat reliant on me. And my husband really likes her as well. That was the thing too, is like I was worried he was gonna be like, she's way too small, hate it, don't like this. But he loosened the reins. So ultimately I feel like his opinion of if he's willing to keep her or not, could totally, if he says no, then it's just like a blanket no. I'm like, that's fine. because I'm sure we could find a lovely home for her, and I will still do the trainings. I will still do all the things I plan to do. But if he does say like, oh, I would like to keep her, I'm in. February, monetarily, was good, I think. Well, it's not, it could have been better. February could have been better, but it could have been way worse, way worse, way worse. Like when I was entering the values, I thought it was going to be worse than it ended up being. Now let's talk a little bit about March. March, I would like to get to a spending pattern that is maybe even less than January, and I think that transaction tracking line by line by line like this, I think that's going to help me. I think that this is going to be really beneficial for me. So we'll see. Speaking of March, I did draw the no buy bonus rule for March, and I got no buying hobby, aka activity or crafting supplies, which did worry me a little bit because I remember that Joann's is going out of business right now, and I was like, no, all the months, this is awful. But actually, they're not going to go out of business immediately in March. Like, it's probably going to drag out at least through April. And I went to Joann's last week, and I looked around, and we've got 20% off, maybe 30% off, a couple of 40% off, but nothing impressive. Nothing that makes me go, oh my gosh, we absolutely need to buy all of this right now because it's such an amazing sale. Like, it's just like we've got classic, if not worse, than normal Joann's sales happening right now. So I'm going to wait it out. Honestly, I think that this rule is protecting me from panic buying stuff at Joann's. So the rule stands, no buying hobby, aka crafting / activity supplies. So there we have it. If you would like more content from me, I am on TikTok at rebecca.sowden. I'm also on Instagram at r.sowden.money. Thank you for watching.